The following program is a co-production of Lotus Films and Hawaii Public Television and was made possible through major funding from the Hawaii Community Foundation, the Dr. and Mrs. L.Q. Pang Foundation, and the Maurice J. Sullivan family.
Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to love everlasting.
This is the realm of the mystery. And I tell you, when I work with dying people, so many times the dying person manifests to me something of the sense of mystery. I don't see this as a problem or something to cure, but something to really experience in such a way that it can enlarge a person, it can make a person more authentic, more real.
You are about to embark on an extraordinary journey into the mystery of death and its relationship to life. It begins here with the Reverend Dr. Mitsuo Aoki, a semi-retired theologian, minister, college professor, and founder of the University of Hawaii's Department of Religion. Mits, as he is affectionately called, has dedicated the better part of his adult life to the study of death and dying. He has helped thousands of terminally ill people face and ultimately embrace their final journey in life.
And all you do is to see a beautiful scenery of nature.
MitsAoki was one of the founding fathers of Hospice Hawaii. His work was really a work of art, and I heard him say that. Our job as caring folks with people who are in their final stages is to help make that dying a work of art. And I think that's been the light that's really guided hospice here in our community.
And use this energy for your own healing now. Just allow that energy of him become an energy of healing in your body.
For the next hour, we will chart the path of MitsAoki's life and work, the experiences of 3 terminally ill people, and the death of Mits's wife, Lynn. And in so doing, arrive at a view of death not as the end, but rather as a vital, inseparable part of life.
Because everything about the culture has separated death, and it's usually the end of life. And I'm saying it begins with life itself. In the heart of life, there's death. And we've got to look at this two together. Well, I'm a local boy, born some 87 years ago in the Big Island, in a place called Kohala, in a village called Hawaii. It's a sugar plantation, and my immigrant parents from Japan gave birth to me. Later in my life, in recollection, I really appreciate the fact that I had a chance to actually live in Hawaii in a greatly Japanese tradition of ancient Japan. And that was the Japanese tradition of focusing on experiencing. You could never conceive of your life apart from a community. So the amazing phenomena on the plantation was that I really understood life in terms of relationships. Death and life belongs together, because they are somehow interrelated all the time. And I think something of the Buddhist tradition and the Asian tradition of relationship helped me understand that very well.
If Asian Buddhist traditions shaped Mits's beliefs during his childhood in Hawaii, it was the Christian religion that inspired him as a young adult and drew him to his life's vocation.
So when I left the plantation and came to Honolulu, I was intrigued about the potential of exploring the whole Haole dimension. And that meant exploring the Christian faith. And I met for the first time a Caucasian minister, Reverend Paul B. Waterhouse. When I felt I've known them well enough for about 5 months, I packed up my little suitcase. I told my grandmother that I was going to live in Kalihi with the Waterhouses. And she asked me, did he invite you? I said, no. And I knocked on the parsonage door, and he opened the door, and I said, Mr. Waterhouse, I've come to live with you. His jaws kind of dropped, and Mrs. Waterhouse was playing the piano at that time. When she heard me say that, she got up, she walked toward me, lifted both of her arms and said, welcome, my son. And I said, never, never forget that remark and her gesture. I became a kind of family. That strong idea of a family or a community has been very important to me in my work.
Aoki's devotion to the Christian faith, along with a voracious intellectual appetite, eventually led him to the Chicago Theological Seminary. Then, after 6 years of service for Hawaii's Congregational Church on Maui and Kauai, Aoki attended the Union Theological Seminary in New York. There he met philosopher Paul Tillich, a man widely regarded as one of the great minds of the 20th century. Under Tillich's guidance, Mits wrote his doctoral thesis on the subject that would become his life's passion. By 1956, the boy from Hawaii had proven himself in the country's top theological circles. It was time to bring his talent and expertise home.
I was invited to come to University of Hawaii to start a new department of religion. In my 40 years of teaching, the one course I truly enjoyed teaching was the course on death and dying.
A born showman, Mits held the class at the Varsity Movie Theater and laced his lectures with wry humor. He also had a habit of dancing on tabletops to make a point, and soon became known as the Cosmic Dancer.
It was a foggy evening and the military ships were on maneuver when the admiral saw in the distance a huge light approaching, and fearful of a collision, the message went out, starboard, turn right. And the message came back, you turn right. So he said, this is Admiral Charles Longworthy. And the message comes back, this is Tom Jones. And now the lights are coming closer and closer, fearful of imminent collision. The Admiral said, this is the mighty Missouri, the flagship. Turn right. And there was a very pregnant silence. And the message came back, this is a lighthouse. Oh, my friends, a great metaphor. This lighthouse is really death.
But Aoki's academic pursuit of the meaning of death would be transformed overnight into a very personal and spiritual mission.
And then what happened is in the 1960s, I had this amazing experience called the near-death experience.
Aoki was riding in the passenger seat of a car when the driver veered off the road and struck a tree. Mits was thrown several feet from the car.
I went through this amazing experience in which, among many things, the most dramatic, that you see a being of light. You don't see the face because it's just radiant of light. You begin to, as I did, experience at that moment a depth of love and great deal of gratitude, great deal of joy, a whole combination of this amazing kind of energy that goes right through your whole body, and in which you feel at one with everything. It's an amazing sense of oneness, so to speak. One of the first things that I sensed was I have no fear of death anymore, that I befriended death. This is the realm of the mystery. That somehow, for me, this event was the occasion where somehow God entered my life and enlarged it to a larger purpose, which was to work with dying people. As you know, in our culture, when a person is terminal, then we get obsessed by the phenomenon of death. And we don't therefore relate it to life itself. That is, we forget to be humorous. We forget to go to the shore, take a vacation. We're so obsessed by this phenomena called death. And so my job is to enter and to keep reminding them, there's life.
Of reason.
Yeah, they can laugh.
That's so convincing, you know. Thank you. Well, you know, it's interesting. A lot of people that see me, they say, there doesn't look like anything wrong with you.
That's right.
Well, I guess I've been blessed with a strong body and a strong mind and a strong will to live, yeah.
But by God, you can bring into that cancer amazing kind of vitality, very authentic kind of life.
Once upon a time, there was a man, and he lived happily enough, but not ever after. The inevitable came sooner rather than later, and the news of its impending mystery was unexpected. A sudden rainstorm on a day when the sky appeared so clear and so blue, the horizon so distant, and he embarked through unfamiliar territory towards this horizon, which had become more tangible, no longer an end, but a passage into himself.
So let's use that life to look at this phenomenon called death and see where we go.
Okay.
Would you like to do that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that because I still have so much, I'm so full of life now,
Right.
that I'm not accepting death more as readily as I should?
No, we're saying because of the life that you are, it's much better now with that life to look at something called death.
Okay.
You just get a rush. It's just, I feel free. I feel free. I feel like I can live forever, and I feel like my life has no limitations because this car takes me where I want to go quickly. It accelerates when I need it, and it gives me all that freedom, the capability to feel like, wow, you know, I'm beyond reality, beyond touch.
Mike Thompson is divorced, lives alone, and works as a chief warrant officer with the U.S. Commander-in-Chief Pacific Command in Hawaii. He has spent most of his 30-plus years in the service with the Navy's submarine force, including a tour of duty in Vietnam. Mike is an avid marathon runner, triathlete, and sports car enthusiast. He is also a terminally ill cancer patient, with colon cancer spread to his liver, spleen, and lymph nodes.
I was very touched.
He's been working with MitsAoki on learning how to live his dying.
You said several times that because of this crisis in your life, you seem to have really almost got a claim on your personal identity. You sense something really emerging within you that makes you Mike Thompson.
Right.
Could you make a comment on that?
Well, you know, as time has gone along, it seems like things are starting to work more and more for me. I just recently found this wonderful home to live in that I've just recently bought, and just everything is just working very, very well for me. And it's like these are all the things I've been looking for to achieve and to make up my personality makeup all this time. Now it's here, and yet, you know, my time on this earth is questionable.
When Mike was first diagnosed in 1995, doctors gave him a year to live. But by April 9th, 1998, he is still fighting and has not yet to use his words, let the Grim Reaper take him. On this day, Mike meets with his oncologist at Tripler Army Medical Center on Oahu to discuss his options. He has had some success with his previous treatments, but his cancer continues to spread, and the prognosis is not good. His brother Tom, visiting from the mainland, also attends, for it appears the time has come for Mike and his family to plan for the final phase of his life.
I know it's something that's going to happen, but you know, I also want to be able to, I'm not going to resign myself to the death and say, come on, you know, I'm going to lay here in this bed and just let it happen, you know. I'm going to go out and play as much as I can, and it's going to strike me.
I would say that, you know, if you didn't want to have specific therapy and you decided not to go that route, I definitely would recommend getting plugged into a hospice. So from that point of view, I would have to say less than 6 months. And it could be a lot less than that. It could be, you know, weeks to, you know,
well, your
couple of
professional
months.
guest gives me the ability to at least gauge what I should and shouldn't do, you know, with respect to spending time with him. It's helpful to us, at least it's helpful to me.
I think it's going to be several weeks to a few months. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to prove you wrong.
Tickle feet, ready? Here we go. Tickle feet.
Everything I've always done has always been looking at the magic of things, feeling the warmth of sunshine, smelling the flowers and things like that. Now with cancer, it's become even more poignant. It's become even more vivid to me, the colors, the way people smile at me, the way they listen to me, the way that things sound and birds sing and things like that. It's just even more so.
Solid baby, though.
Mike's daughter, Shaylin, moved her family from Wyoming to Hawaii to be with her father in his time of need. All this was at the urging of her husband, Kes, who was also in the military and requested a humanitarian transfer to Hawaii.
We've really struggled within ourselves, you know, within our own family. There's just been so much stress and emotion and things like that. So, but it's been good, and I think we'll come out of it being glad that we did it, and that, you know, we feel stronger and maybe closer to each other. You know, that's an amazing thing, I think, for someone to do for someone else's parents. You know, for Kes to do that for my dad.
Well, one of the greatest things you guys did for me to perpetuate my memory is to name your son after me and after your dad. That was real important to me. You did a real good thing there.
Although Shaylin and her family have uprooted themselves in order to form a support system for Mike in Hawaii, Mike has decided to move to a property he has purchased in Florida, where he has no family, for what are likely to be his last few months on Earth. Mitz gathers the family together to try to work through the dilemma.
That one is difficult for me. More so now because I know that soon he'll have to move. I know that in a few months he will leave and go to Florida, and that's hard for me because I worry about him being alone there. And although we do our best to enjoy every day, sometimes when we do fun things together or when we are having a heart-to-heart, I worry that it might be the last time.
My response to your dad when we talk about those things, you know, somehow I always see him in terms of his joy and his gratitude and his zest for life, you know. That's what I see. Evidently, this is the essence of who he really is. And that essence never dies, you know. I think in all of us, there's a kind of life force. And your dad is a remarkable life force.
All the preferred cards. We'll continue on with pre-boarding in just a few minutes. Mahalo.
Say hi to your mom and your sister. Yeah, but I'm not going to be in phone touch that much. Bye, Papa. Okay. Bye, buddy.
It was a dream of his. He always wanted to do it, and he was going to do it. And he didn't have a whole lot of time, and so maybe he should just do what he, was going to do and do as much of it as he possibly could. He made the best of his situation, and he did it to the fullest.
This is a very vital part of my work. I asked the survivors to approach the dying person and say to the dying person, we love you, but I hope you know that we have given you permission to go anytime you want to go. They do this because so often the dying person holds on to their suffering because some unfinished business has not yet occurred. Mike, this is Mitch from Hawaii. When you hear me, give me a sign. You know, Mike, you are on a journey. As we said last time, you wanted to live your dying, and you lived it so well. Tom, have you had a chance to, we say, give him permission to go? Would you like to do that? Helen has done it already.
Yes, I'm doing it tonight, I tell him.
Yeah.
To walk to the light.
Right.
I look for Christ.
Just say that, Identify yourself first so he can hear your name. And just tell him.
So you look I told him that every night when I was with him.
Sure, be nice.
Mike, it's Tom. I love you, buddy. If you're ready to go, you can go. God's waiting for you. And I'll see you up there.
So this is the story of my wife when she discovered she had this liver cancer, and she found out that she was terminal. So when we left the hospital, she told the doctor that she was going to return home, and she was with me going to live her dying. So when we returned home, I had asked 3 of her friends. I live in a residential community at Pohanani, and there were 3 people in my cottage waiting for her. And so she sat them down and told them that she was terminal, and they shared a great deal that day. And she gave to each of them a little stone, that whenever they came, they must bring the stone with them. It's a ritual that she, instituted. Peggy, your stone, you place it in the palm of your hand, and you think about an incident, whether some crisis or some unusual happening that you want to share with me. And we planned her dying as a project, so to speak. And so she went through experiences that I want to share with you that demonstrates so clearly what I want to do in my work. Is to keep reminding people that there is this challenge called death. But what it does, it enables you now to accept the challenge of death in such a way that something in life comes to embrace it. So ritual has this amazing kind of a role to play in any culture, in any event. It gives order, it creates community, and it brings about a transformation.
Once upon a time, there was a community which gathered around a woman on her journey to a horizon that appeared to be a line, a boundary, the edge of the earth. The community went with her to the edge and beyond, and turned a burden into a gift.
I'm very fascinated about your classmates at Punahou. And there's lots of wonderful stories about that. Could you share one or two?
Well, they've done amazing things. As I said, that first round went on for 8 or 9 months, and then I said I could handle it. And then this past summer, things started getting bad for me again. I was having a lot of trouble taking care of everything by myself, and not being able to work. I haven't worked for well over a year. And a friend of mine knew that my classmates were quite strong, and so she took it on herself to call them and say, you know, she won't ask for help, but she's in trouble. And so they got together right away and started helping to organize things like you had actually suggested of, you know, somebody to help with like grocery shopping or cleaning and things like that. And they sent out a letter to all 400 classmates and said the situation with the cancer and that I really needed help. And the response was just overwhelming. You can't comprehend that there's so many people out there that are willing and able to help.
Faye Myers has been battling breast cancer for over 10 years. Soon after she was diagnosed, her husband left her. Despite her illness, she continued to shoulder the responsibilities of raising 3 children and supporting an entire family. At one point, she succeeded in ridding herself of the cancer, but eventually it returned, worse than before.
Because your stress levels determine when it comes back. And so, you know, I had good times and I had stressful times. But then I tried to work full-time in real estate and joined a small company and took on way too much pressure, way too much was expected of me. And I tried to just keep smiling and doing it because I was getting a paycheck that I really needed.
I guess I just feel that any of us could be in this situation. And so it just feels good to be able to help her, and rather than just sit by and worry about how she's doing, do what little bit we can to help. I think it was hard at first for her. I think it was difficult to admit that she had needs, and particularly I think it's hard to tell people if you have financial needs. That's a difficult thing to do, but I think we've gotten beyond that now, and I hope she's seeing that we're all having fun helping.
I would think that soliciting may be the right thing to do.
It's the easiest, the cleanest. It's the most.
At this point in your life, is it easier for you to receive?
Much.
Gracefully?
I finally learned, like I said, I think the real lessons didn't sink in as much as you tell yourself that, yeah, that's good information, I really should do that. The everyday reality of life just pounds on you, and it's real hard to accept that things will work out if you don't go out and earn X amount to cover the rent, the insurance, the whatever. It's really tough to let go of that. That's been the most difficult thing.
Yeah. And what about, this is a dramatic statement I'm going to make, but at this time in your life, you can receive your cancer and say to the cancer that is you, okay, I'm going to receive you with grace, with thanksgiving. It's a very difficult thing to say.
Very difficult.
Because I've learned that through you, look at all my friends that give so much. Just touch them.
That's what people say.
That's right.
It's hard for me
I
to
know,
comprehend.
but that's...
People say, you know, you've made such a difference in other people's life, or you're such an example. And I say, how? You know, what did I do? But I guess it's like you say, you live an example. In the bigger picture, maybe it has brought good things to me. But I still have trouble with what I've missed or will miss. And so I'm still battling that one. 5 years ago, when it was first diagnosed again, all the doctors here were positive that I didn't have long. The surgeon got tears in her eyes and said, well, get your life in order because you don't have long. And I said, but I want to see my daughter graduate. And she said, I really don't think you have that much time. Spend the time you can with her and make it worthwhile. So seeing my daughter graduate has been my goal for 5 years now. And I really, wondered sometimes whether I would make it. The night after graduation, when we had been to another wedding and a party and all these things, one after another, and I was totally exhausted, I did get into bed saying, it would be okay if I died tonight because I've done what I wanted to do, and that's enough, and it's okay. And if I had died in my sleep, it would have been okay. But I didn't. It was like I woke up in the morning, okay, I'm still here. So now how do I deal with the rest of it? So I had to really think about what I wanted to do next or what was important. And, I'm sort of on a roller coaster. Some days are kind of scary, and then I think, no, you can't accept that. Try to refocus and keep going.
Once you, find that you're capable of saying, yes, I would embrace, I would accept them, then you let it go. And when it comes, you can deal with it. You're much more able to be open toward your dying. And that is it's amazing what that does. It's a very different way than just dying, And then, as I said, we can bring lots of resources to bear. Walk through the light, my friend. Walk through the light. And your mother is there to greet you. You may want to grasp her hands as you prepare for the journey. Your loved ones are all here. Go on the journey. In the third week with Lynn, we had planned that she let go. So now she was going to let go all the memories and so forth she had. So we took 5 photographic albums and went through each one of them. And this is her way of saying goodbye. And unbeknown to us, she saw in this one page the photograph of her first husband. When she saw it, she let out this awesome anger. You know, deep, this kind of anger. Then after a while, a very significant pause, she turned to me and says, "Sweetheart, I've just experienced something amazing. I think God forgave me." Then this is what she did. She turned to this photograph of her first husband, upon whom she piled on all this castration, all this stuff, and said, "I want to share my forgiveness with you." If you can begin to understand the depth of what was happening, here she is now, in her dying, willing to let go, letting go all the anger heaped upon her first husband. She could reach a point in the depth of her anger when something in life called forgiveness comes to her, and through her she shares with someone else. So she's experiencing now not just the anger, but this amazing kind of transformative energy called forgiveness.
Once upon a time, there was a woman who journeyed toward a horizon and became something other and wonderful. Still part of the earth, still one with the land. The rains fall, leaves dance in the wind. The streams flow swift and cool over round stones, plummet down cliffs, go underground, through blind caverns, emerge in light, merge with the salt of the ocean.
People all call it Ulu. What does that stand for?
Ululani, which is my whole name, is something growing from heaven. And so that is where my name comes from, Ululani.
So we have a divine being here.
Oh, well, I think my parents had something in mind, maybe, to keep me close.
Ulu Mendiola is a part Hawaiian woman battling breast cancer. A member of the renowned hula academy, Halau Hula o Maiki, Ulu takes great pride in her Hawaiian heritage. She is also a devout Christian and counts hula and religion as her two greatest resources.
Get a chance to reassess and then probably restart the treatment again next week if things are continuing to go as well as I think they're going to be going. Okay.
Ulu recently suffered a recurrence of her cancer with a tumor twice the size of the one previously removed from her. The resulting pain, rigorous treatments, and a demanding examination schedule have limited her participation in hula.
Yes. I was so let down and depressed. I was so... I didn't... And all I wanted to hear doctors say was that we can get rid of this. My biggest fear was that we couldn't do anything about it. So I was very depressed
when
I heard about it.
Maybe this is the place I should tell you my basic responsibility to you is to help you nurture the resources that are available to you. In other words, I don't focus so much on the cancer. That's the medical stuff.
Right.
But I'll work along with them. But essentially, my work with you is to help you nurture and deepen the resources that are available to you.
Okay.
So you mentioned a few of the resources already. The church.
Right.
Meaning also God that's involved in the belief system. The medical, they're very supportive of you. And what else can you mention as resources that we can use now?
You know, one of the resources I'm realizing is, as I was saying earlier, my hula background.
Hula, that's
yes,
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's come back to me, and it's helping me to realize that there are many things that I've learned that I can be using now as I'm on my road to recovery.
Good. Maybe just for today, with the emphasis I'm going to be making is on we call images or visualization.
Okay.
This work on imagery is so essential because it's the work of the mind. We're going to allow this imagery of God represented by something very concrete, and what would that be for you?
To me, as I think about the imagery of God and nature and His perfection in nature, I think of the Olapa tree.
Olapa?
The Olapa tree. In the Olapa and Hula tradition, one is said to be like the Olapa tree if one is the dancer. When you look at the Olapa tree as it grows in the mountains, when the wind comes by and it shimmers the tree.
Yes.
So if you are a good dancer, you are able to do what nature wants you to do, the shimmering of nature, showing nature growing as only nature can because God makes it grow. There is a chant that we have learned at Halau. It is about the lei which can be made from the Olapa leaf or from maile leaves or from the lehua. Ke lei maila o kaula I ke kai e. Ke malama lama o ni I hau ua mali e. A mali e pa ka inu waila, ke inu maila, na hala o na ue I ke kai. Do na ue ka hala, no puna ka wahine, no ka lua, no iki laue. When I'm doing these things, my body is relaxing. My body is coming down to feeling like the pain is lesser. This is truly happening in the body. Because I'm focusing, I'm supposing, on this beauty of nature and on what is there for me in God's own perfection. I'm not focusing on the sickness or the cancer. I'm only focusing on the beauty that is here, if we just see it.
So in terms of the image of yourself, what do you see?
I see a person, I see a person wanting to be in hula costume with my full adornments.
Wonderful.
And as I was taught by my kumu to perform kahula,
now,
I see myself doing that.
Okay, bring the image of what you just described. Now, keep your eyes closed, the better to focus on this image. Now, bring that image inside of yourself. Now that image may be out here 3 feet, I want you to bring it right inside of you, right here. And when it gets in there, tell me what's happening to that image. This is you in all your perfection. What's happening?
I'm in touch with emotions that perhaps I don't let myself feel. Maybe because I've let myself come away from hula, but focusing on the hula again, I understand how much it means to me.
Absolutely.
And so it comes to me now
Good.
that I've neglected it. I've neglected it. So I need to bring back my heart to it.
You see, it's so simple. Just bring the image of you at your perfection, and it always touches something deep within you. It's just what you're experiencing now. Now just express within yourself great deal of gratitude toward the hula, toward the olapa tree, to your friends, your loved ones. Open your eyes. Wasn't that marvelous?
Yes, it was. It brought me in touch with
you,
that
at your
closer.
deeper level. That's right. And the more you get in touch with that, my friend, the more healing takes place. Close your eyes and see yourself in the image dancing, and see what happens to the body again. Just close your eyes. Now see yourself dancing the hula, and make it very vivid.
Kelei maela, oe kilawe ea. Kelei maela, ilawe. Amani upa, kainu waila, keinu maila, nala o na ue, ike kai, no na we kahala, no puna kawahine, no kalua. No ikilo we
Thank you. Lovely, lovely. I can almost see you dancing the hula. Okay, we're going to conclude now with a little prayer, okay?
Yep.
Oh God, we present once again Ulu to you. Cradle her in your hands and bring healing and bring all kinds of peace into her heart. This we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Be nice to be here, my friend. I'll see you again. Okay?
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Once upon a time and forever, a man and a woman journeyed toward a horizon and saw it was a mirror. Sun, moon, day, night, life, death. The new moon rose, barely visible, but there, surrounded by stars. The man and woman danced, touched by a poignant sweetness, born of pain and grief and love.
This next one is something I experienced with Lynn. She started by saying, I'm cold. I'm cold. So I got in bed and held her, and I could feel the coldness. Then she did all kinds of sounds of this terrible, she called it, I'm all alone, is what she said. And all I could do was just hold her. And I could feel the coldness in my body as well. Then again, something happens in which she allowed herself to take that aloneness and just go with it as far as she could, so to speak. And again, she comes to a level when she says, sweetheart, she said, I'm experiencing something called solitude, she said. From this aloneness to something called profound solitude. I don't think it's easy for any of us to enter this area where you become totally alone. But she did. She did. And when she had the courage to do this, experience it, again, she didn't enter voluntarily. It overcame her. But then she was willing to go with it. This is really the last half an hour of her life. Now, actually, I know pretty well the science of death. So I got prepared for this one now. So the last 3 days, she was really out. Couldn't eat, couldn't talk. She was really out. And yet, this amazing phenomena took place. So weak, she couldn't move. She wanted to move her hands, you know, take a long time to move it, or her head, or any part of her body. And yet, in the last half an hour, this is what happened. She had both of her arms outside the blanket. And here's the mystery. She suddenly lifted up both arms just like this. Just like that. 3 days she couldn't move, and now the last half an hour she moved. And she's trying to say something. No words came out, but she moved her lips to say, I love you. Then when the eyes closed, she stopped breathing. That's the phenomena. And yet, intuitively, I experience this phenomena called love. Love. That in the midst of the challenge of her dying, her death, there was another energy called love. And evidently, this energy is much stronger than death itself, because it put me through one of the very amazing phenomena is that because of the way she died, I could go through my grief so quickly. That was a gift to me. Good morning, Lynn. There is a big shower taking place outdoors today, this morning. And when I think about showers, I remember that you and I used to walk deliberately in a shower around this area and get wet and enjoy it. Do you remember? I love you. I have discovered about a year and a half ago, I have this congestive heart failure situation. I'm told that a normal heart pumps about 65% of the blood, but my heart can only pump about 20%. So I have to be careful about overexerting my heart. At my age and my condition, the word why is really not necessary anymore. I just really don't need the why. Because I don't analyze now. It's to just enjoy whatever that things is happening. Just enjoy it. I call it just flow with it and see what happens. No words came out, but she moved her lips to say, I love you. You could see. That's what she said. And when I saw her eyes, I could see what we call dancing stars. So, when we were well, in the evening, we used to walk around the cottage and look at the stars. So there's a dancing star.